Our news review begins with the Orlando killings and the aftermath of that while the FBI continues its investigations. The Independent, the front page of this, reports on how US presidential hopefuls Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are diametrically opposed in their perspectives following what happened in Florida. Mr. Trump has called for more intense monitoring of the Islamic community in the US. Mrs. Clinton has warned against demonizing groups along religious lines.
The International New York Times writes how thousands of European workers in Britain are worried how their employment status may change in the event Britain decides to leave the European Union. More than 400,000 European migrants currently work in the UK.
The FT leads with the software giant Microsoft making its biggest ever acquisition, acquiring the business-oriented social networking service LinkedIn. The price, just over $26 billion.
The Times investigates allegations Goldman Sachs bankers paid for prostitutes, private jets and five-star hotels in order to win business from Libyan investment funds set up by the former regime of Muammar Gaddafi. This is a court case ongoing at the moment. Goldman Sachs says it has done nothing wrong.
Le Figaro reports on the latest wave of industrial actions set to disrupt travel right across the continent because French air traffic controllers, amongst others, they've pledged to walk out. It'll be the 50th time they've done so since 2009. The industrial action today is going to affect people travelling around France for the European Championship football tournament.
And finally, do you feel you have what it takes to be the best party host? Well, if you're Japanese, you can now take classes and sit an exam on how to hold a successful dinner party. The Home Party Association of Japan teaches everything you need to know, from entertaining at home to the right music, atmosphere, food, wine. The list is long.
Dealing with guests who arrive too early.
Yes.
You know, in Pakistan, if you arrive on time, no one's ready. 2 hours late, that's the standard. Cornelia Meyer is here, CEO of the MRL Corporation.
Good morning, Cornelia.
Good morning.
There was a thought that actually the politics may briefly halt the presidential campaign because of what happened in Orlando, but actually the two main hopefuls, they've been speaking about it, and as we've just said, they're very, very different in how they've approached this.
And we would have hoped that it would have halted, and I'm totally with Hillary Clinton and with President Obama. Let's not demonize people. And, you know, we know too little. And Trump is sort of going into it, and you know, this Islamophobia that we are dealing with, not just in the US, but also here, is something that worries me. Yes, we have a problem with Islamic State. Yes, we have a problem with terrorism. But you know, the vast majority of Muslims in our countries are wonderful tax-paying citizens.
Yeah, okay. But what about what he said here? This is interesting. Just this line from the Independent's analysis. The willingness of Mr. Trump to seek political advantage from national tragedy also outstrips anything seen before. Very, very soon after it happened, he tweeted, didn't he? He said, yes, I got it right. Thanks a lot for the congratulations about my analysis.
Yeah,
that more terrorism was coming, Islamic
and
terrorism.
He shoots from the hip, and this is not something where you should shoot. It's not presidential to shoot from the hip, and it's very unbecoming in the face of such a tragedy to sort of immediately try and take an advantage of it.
It's quite interesting, actually. I was reading some analysis of his campaign and his strategy, or those who are working with him on that, and this is actually a part of the strategy.
And it's working for him, isn't it?
To shock, to get that reaction, to get the discussion in the media, and so far it's proving to be successful.
Yeah.
It's proven to be successful, and he's going on something where he may have a majority of sort of white, male, middle-class people behind him in their thinking or in their gut reaction. So he's playing to his base constituency.
Let's have a look. Should we move on?
Yeah, go on. I was just going to say, what sort of passport do you hold?
I hold a British and a Swiss passport.
Okay, let's just imagine you only have a Swiss passport. Okay, go for it.
So, Brexit vote. This article is in the International New York Times saying foreign workers are actually on edge about this, who work in the UK, and for good reason.
Yeah, for good reason. And British workers who work abroad, we have about 2 million Britons who work in the EU. They should be very worried too, and for good reasons. And imagine, go to a restaurant, go anywhere in a hotel. Everybody, nobody speaks English anymore, and everybody is from anywhere but not here.
Field.
Yeah.
So what about all those Swiss? I know lots of Italians, you know, who've been to a famous university in Milan where they study finance. They come to work in the city. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Lots of German bankers here. Are they all going to leave?
You know, this is going to be, if we vote out, this is going to be protracted negotiations. They're not going to leave day one, but it's just going to create such a massive uncertainty, and uncertainty is bad for markets. You know, business people do not like uncertainty.
I mean, I know we have to move on. That's what everybody says, but that is a short-term issue. Uncertainty, isn't it? I mean, you're going to move on from this uncertainty, the uncertainty of the US elections.
Yeah.
No, it's not a short-term issue, because it will be a protracted negotiation of what can we do with the EU, and the EU will not be able to afford to be lenient, because there are other jokers who want, you know, who want their little extra thing, and then they have the Swiss as well who want their extra negotiations.
Sure, 23rd of this month, it'll all be decided.
No, there.
Microsoft been shopping again, buying LinkedIn this time. Give us your take on this deal.
Well, I think it's obviously a very different deal, let's say, from the Google YouTube deal or the WhatsApp Facebook deal. If they're going for breadth, they're not going to get breadth, because it's only a few million people on LinkedIn. But let's not forget, it's the people who are in offices who probably have spending power over what software to buy. So probably they're getting themselves into the heads of their consumers. So in that sense, it just might work out. But it's a dear deal. It's a very expensive deal.
And it's a lot of money. And when you look at the
deal.
monthly active users of LinkedIn, it's in the hundreds of millions. You look at the monthly active users of Facebook, we're talking about billions.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's quite a big difference.
But you know, the billions will not necessarily buy the Microsoft products, and especially the expensive business-geared products are going to be bought by the people on LinkedIn.
The amount of people that complain about the LinkedIn app. Oh, my God. OK. Gaddafi hookers and a vampire squid is the headline in the Times. This is an investigative piece. Harry Wilson reports on this. Must stress the Goldman Sachs says it's done nothing wrong. But this is just the latest revelation to come out of Muammar Gaddafi's regime. There's been so much, and no doubt there'll be so much more.
Yes, but can I just take this to a different level? Because this is all nice, but this is the past. I mean, I think when we look at sovereign wealth funds, we need to see it's not sovereign wealth fund doesn't equal sovereign wealth fund. You have IDEA, which is incredibly, you know, professionally managed. You have the Norwegian one, which is incredibly professionally managed. And what worries me more about the Gaddafi sovereign wealth fund or the Libyan sovereign wealth fund is that it happily invested when there was no government anymore. And it really should be there for the people. So how dare companies take their money, their investment, when you don't really know who owns it anymore? So that, I think that those are much more important issues than the hookers and the squid. Another issue that I saw in there, the vampire squid, I don't know what a vampire squid is. Another issue that I saw in there is I would like to see people treating their clients with respect. And some of the bankers here apparently did not speak, you know, with respect of our, you know, colleagues in the Middle East, and that I also find, if you have a client, please treat him with respect.
This story, though, wouldn't tarnish other sovereign wealth funds' reputation.
No, it won't.
Surely.
No, it won't.
Have any implications from that
no,
point of view?
it doesn't have implications, but I just felt it was important to set that aside and make that point, so people wouldn't put a broad brush. I thought that was sort of important.
Now, Cornelia,
the French are striking, we know that. Let's talk about party time.
No.
We've known you a long time, and you've always told me about the fact that you're hosting this many people on New Year's Day, and you're hosting this many people.
What do you serve your guests when they arrive? What's the first drink they have in their hand?
They usually can choose, but I usually go with a glass of champagne or a glass of Prosecco. But I have to say I'm doing 2 books. One is on the 100 million people we need to employ in the jobs we need to create in the Middle East just to stand still. And the other one is how to set the perfect table. So I must now move to Japan and go and have
you've lived in Japan in the past.
Yes, but I should go and
you hosted dinner parties there too.
Yes, even when I was a student and had a very small. I'm a natural feeder, I guess, and a natural natural nester. But I should go there and just stop being an economist and start doing dinner parties.
What is the top tip for throwing a good dinner party in your view?
In my view, is two things. Select the guests so they have something in common, and there's some new people in there as well, so it stays interesting. Always have some talking points. Make interesting tables with some things on it that they can talk if they don't have anything else to talk about.
Yeah, I would say don't talk politics. Yeah, I nearly threw somebody out of my house.
That always gets a dinner party going.
I always talk politics.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you, Cornelia.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.